to you. We're going to do a Bible scene investigation this episode. We're going to talk about how to interpret parables because Jesus used them a lot. Now, what is a parable? Well, the word means throw alongside. And basically, the idea is Jesus would take a spiritual truth and he would throw a story beside it. He would teach a lot of things that way. And Jesus loved using this method. It happens all the time in the Gospels, or a lot of times. And he used it so that he could motivate people to think. Because people would either think, hey, wow, I need to understand this. I'm going to really dig in. Or they'd say, oh, it isn't worth it. I just drop it and walk away. Either way, Jesus knew that he could draw people to him using these kind of stories. So when Jesus explains it, and there are a couple parables that Jesus explained, I mean, enough said, it's done. That's what it is. Otherwise, when we come across a parable, what do we do with it? Well, we read it looking for a main point it's making, a theme, a thought. What is it trying to drive home? It's not that every word means something special, but it is teaching us a main theme. So I'm going to practice one with you. These are two little parables. They're like a matching set. They're in Matthew chapter 13, verses 44, 45, and 46. And I'm going to read it for you a few times. Now, Jesus starts by saying, the kingdom of God is like. And if you didn't get number 22 of Listen Up, you need to, because that explains the kingdom. It's when God is in charge of your life. It's like this. So let me read to you Matthew chapter 13, beginning with verse 44. The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. Two different guys here. Who are they? Well, there's a guy who is just digging around in the field. And then you've got another man who is a pearl merchant, buys and sells pearls, and an expert. And the action is that they both land on something of value. Now then, I want to read it again to you, and I want you to listen for the differences. What are the differences between these guys? The kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. What are the differences here between the two guys? Well, one of them, again, pure luck, dug in a field, found it. Now, in that day, people didn't have banks or didn't trust banks, and so they'd often bury their money, their gold, their jewelry in the ground and go back and find it because of war and other things. Long time, people would die. And so there was a law then, finders, keepers. However, what you found belonged to the owner of the property. So that's one guy. The second guy, so the first guy's lucky, purely lucky. The second guy is searching. He knows his business. But now both of them come across the deal of a lifetime. So one more time, I'm going to read it with you, and I want you to look at what do they do? What's their response? Jesus says, the kingdom of heaven is like a treasure hidden in a field. When a man found it, he hid it again. And went then in his joy went and sold all he had and bought that field. Again, the kingdom of heaven is like a merchant looking for fine pearls. When he found one of great value, he went away and sold everything he had and bought it. They have the chance of a lifetime. And what do both these guys do? They sell out. They sell absolutely everything they have in order to purchase the opportunity to possess the treasure or the best pearl the guy's ever come across in his life. Now we add in kingdom, God's rule in our lives, God in charge, Jesus in charge of your life. What's Jesus saying? He's saying when you figure out the value of having God in your life, the value of God being in charge of your life. When you figure out that, you've got it, and you realize this is the opportunity of a lifetime, and you'll sell out. You'll sell out everything. That's what Jesus is telling you because it's worth it. Now, I'm going to hand you some extra credit. If you're really serious about this, I want you to take some time and listen to Luke chapter 15. And like I've done here, listen to it more than once. It is a string of three parables based on the fact that the Pharisees, the rulers, which we've talked about before, teachers, were really down on Jesus because he spent time with outcasts like tax collectors and others. And so Jesus tells them a story, or actually a series of three. I want you to listen for the similarities in it, the theme that runs through them, and also there's an event that occurs in each one of them. Take some time to listen. Take some time to focus, because when you get Jesus' stories, his parables, then you really begin to understand Jesus and what he's teaching. And boy, we want to understand Jesus. So listen up.